I'm Gene Grant here at the table with this week's Line Opinion panelists. The Albuquerque Journal reported this week that some crime rates appear to have dropped in the first part of 2018, but violent crimes continued to rise. Now, crime has been a top concern in New Mexico's largest city for years. Certainly, property crime, particularly auto thefts, rose year after year. And Merritt, you know, the Keller administration has, I have to give him a little bit of credit here. If you think back, he announced the situation to do more stops of cars. He announced he was going to do more about burglaries, and something seems to be taking hold here, if only he's being very transparent about it. Do you see what I mean here? It's working out, so we know where we are, so to speak.
Well, and obviously, if you get a statistic like this in your first 6 months as mayor, you are totally going to take all the credit you can for it. It doesn't matter what type of politician you are going to make that hay while the sun is shining.
That's right.
I think certainly the years of DOJ reforms and the years of public scrutiny and national media scrutiny have done a lot to change the culture. And you don't change the culture overnight. You cannot fix that mindset and that culture with an entrenched workforce overnight.
That's right.
So I think he inherited a lot of reform, but I think, to your point, he's showing that he's willing to talk openly about crime and hold.
That's right.
It seems like he's a little more focused on holding APD accountable rather than just as a separate entity who happens to fight crime in his city.
Good way to put it. Exactly right. You know, Dan, you had a great piece on the sort of optimism that's out there, but it is nuanced, isn't it? There's things that folks are trying to look at inside crime and crime trends that it's just not that simple, is it? It's a difficulty.
Yeah, it's, you know, there is possibly a really fascinating thing that's happening, which is that after more or less 8 years of rising crime rates, that we may be seeing an end to that trend. It's difficult to tease out what in particular is responsible. It could be, you know, broader economic conditions and social conditions. It could be efforts in the court system or the jail, APD. There could be a lot of different things that are happening, and it's difficult to pinpoint what might be responsible, but there's a chance that 2018 is the year that breaks the trend.
Imagine that, Vicki, hearing what Dan just said. A few years ago, it would have been unthinkable to, you know. Right, exactly. But we do have something. I want to touch on another thing that's interesting about crime here, is that we've got the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office has had a wild increase in pursuits year to year. In fact, the 3 previous years compared to just this past year. 74 versus 11. That's a major difference. What do you make of that? There's something about, let me put it this way. There was a reason municipalities wanted to cut down on these kind of things.
They're
because
dangerous.
They are very dangerous.
They're very dangerous. And unless you are chasing somebody that just murdered someone or raped someone, why are you careening through the streets chasing somebody who weaved?
Right.
You know, I mean, yes, we need
or
to
ran
get
a red light
drivers off the road. Absolutely. You've got a camera in your car. Take a photo of the license plate. Find them in 20 minutes down the road. Figure out where they're at. There's so many other ways to pursue someone than, and again, we have to pay out on these lawsuits. I mean, the number of damaged cars. I mean, these guys should be driving Rent-A-Wrecks at this point because, I mean, that's ridiculous.
They're out there, aren't they? Just, you know, doing stuff. Yeah.
I mean, when we talk about scrutinizing the schools, let's start scrutinizing everybody because that's ridiculous to have 40 of your cars damaged in a year because you've done 70-something.
Yep.
Wow. I mean, it's just too much. And again, do we even know were these people committing violent felony crimes or, as we have seen in some of the reports, they ran a red light, they weaved, you know.
That's right. Andy, we have wording about where, you know, how and when folks can pursue or not. But then this feedback came back from the officers saying, well, we're not quite sure how we can, you know what I mean? What we can do and what we can't do. Interesting point there, but 74 versus 11. What's your sense of that one? That's a big number.
The undersheriff said in an article explicitly that he said, no, you guys are okay to go ahead and pursue those people.
Right.
That's his idea of getting that confusion out of the way was saying, no, go ahead and do it.
Right. You know, everybody. That's right.
It's hard to. I don't know. Like Dan said, there's a lot of factors into this, but, as far as what makes it go up. But it seems pretty explicit that go ahead and pursue them.
That's right. Your sense of this one too. Is this asking for a problem here? I mean, do we need, officers careening through the streets of our city and our county specifically?
I mean, I
Running after red light people and weaving and stuff like that?
I think the motivation is stopping crime.
Yeah.
Whether it's the correct policy, whether they're doing this the right way, I don't know. But I don't
Right.
think DCO is doing this to deliberately put people at risk.
Right.
And
But let me stop you there. There have been incidents. In fact, Sam Bregman is involved
Right.
in one of these as an attorney representing someone who has been, lost folks. He makes a good point, though. You can't. His sense of it was cowboys. These guys are cowboys. I mean, 40 vehicles damaged, 74 pursuits. Something doesn't seem quite right here.
And of course, a high-speed pursuit, if you think about the emotion of it, escalates everything.
That's right.
Yes.
And there's
right.
a motivation, yes, I'm going to catch a bad guy. I'm going to get him off the street right now. But the bad guy may have, the reason they're being chased is they've got more stuff besides just running a red light.
That's right.
So it escalates a situation in a way that I think about people hadn't thought about before, just in the desire to get more bad people or more criminals off the streets.
Good point there. I want to throw one more on the table before we wrap this up. So interesting to me when I read that the idea of folks reaching out, Vicki, to the Guardian Angels in
Yes.
New York to patrol the streets of Albuquerque. I did a triple take when I saw that in the
I
paper.
did too.
It
I
was
felt
amazing.
like, whoa, is it the 1970s?
Right.
I'm a little kid reading about the Guardian Angels.
Right.
And I mean, it's neighborhood watch on steroids.
That's amazing.
And
Can you really see people with red berets walking around Albuquerque watching things
Maybe they
over?
have
Does that
an
work
updated
here?
outfit, or
All right.
Maybe they get an updated cowboy hat. I just think that, I mean, it can't be bad. I mean, the guy was talking about what we need is community. What we need is community. I was glad to see that the cops were there at the meeting so they're
Right.
informed.
That's right.
Because at the same time, you don't want, I mean, yeah, that random citizen who called them may be wonderful. We don't know this person.
That's right.
Let's
That's right.
coordinate this
Good point
and
there.
have more community.
That's right. Andy, I can't help but think back, maybe a little bit older than you guys, but, do we really want these people out there? Because let's put it this way. Back in the day, some of the Guardian Angels felt it was okay to mete out justice as they saw fit on the streets at the moment. You know what I mean? And some people couldn't blame them because they were rolling people who were rolling people on subway stands and stuff like that. But Albuquerque, I just got a funny feeling it's an odd thing here. If you're a Guardian Angel and you're out there alone, walking around downtown, I'm not quite sure if that's the way to go here.
There's a couple of things to that because we have some private security companies here in Albuquerque that
Right.
are not doing that, but kind of doing their own private policing in a way.
Sure.
So you could argue that well they're not cops, they don't get to do, but they also have more liability.
That's
they're
right.
a private citizen, right?
That's
so
right.
if they use unreasonable force on somebody, they're probably going to get charged for whatever they did. Well, they will get charged for whatever they did, but
right.
they're probably going to go to jail for it.
That's right.
As opposed to, they were just doing their duty as officers.
That's right. And Merritt, they can say they're trained, but who knows what the training is? Do you know what I mean? Does it work in context with the police department? Yeah.
I would offer whether we can even actually find enough people to do it, because you can make, if this is really what you want to do with your life, you can make a ton more money as a security contractor in Afghanistan. That's right. And I kind of feel like that's where that mindset and that population.
Rather than walking the mean streets of Albuquerque.
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
Indeed.
Rather than go to Afghanistan.
There's
That's
gonna be
funny.
a recruitment issue.
Right, exactly. I want to get you in on this one too, Dan. The idea, again, you cannot fault people for reaching out and trying to do something that just seems unfixable. At some point, citizens are literally going to take it into their own hands. But is that the right answer for Albuquerque?
Yeah, it's not for me to say whether that's the right answer, but I think it's certainly a sign that crime is a dominant issue for people. That it's something that neighborhoods really care about, and they are desperate for solutions, and they feel like they're not getting answers.
That's right.
In traditional places.
That's right.
I talk to a lot of candidates this time of year, and I hear often from people all across the political spectrum that when they knock on doors, they're hearing a lot about crime, and people want to do something. Whether
That's right.
this is the way to do it or not, I don't know, but
That's right. Yeah, we'll have to see. Thank you all. Great subject.
Thanks, Jim.
See you next time.